Welcome in, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you enjoyed NFL preseason week 3 as much as I did. So that wraps up the preseason, which means the next games are going to be regular season. Cannot wait for the 2026 season to kick off on Wednesday, September 9th, 2026. So, in today's show, we're going to talk about the NFL preseason week 3 games. I just want to give my take and reaction on most of the games, on some of the players that stood out, and just other notable things from NFL preseason week 3. So we got some really good stuff to talk about in today's show. Before we do jump into all of that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about sports, personal, and money topics with the goal of bringing value to your life. So if you find value in this video and in today's show, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Hit that like button and make some comments on your reaction to NFL preseason week 3 action. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, the first game we're going to jump into and talk about is this matchup between the Steelers and the Bills. So really close game in this one. The Buffalo Bills squeeze out the win, 28-27. None of the main players played in this one, like Aaron Rodgers, obviously, and Josh Allen did not play. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stats for the guys that did play. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, in their most recent draft, they drafted Drew Aller, quarterback. So he's been getting some good action in the preseason. And looks like he went 9 for 18 for 88 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Will Howard, 9 for 15, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So these two guys are battling it out for QB3, the third backup position for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is obviously QB1. Mason Rudolph, QB2. So we'll see if they keep both of these guys, if they keep 4 quarterbacks or if they cut one of them. But I don't think they're going to cut Drew Aller. They just drafted him. Let's take a look at the rushing. Nichols, 7 carries, 40 yards. Heidenreich, 9 carries, 35 yards, 1 touchdown. And multiple guys had multiple receptions for the Steelers. A couple of guys had sacks. All right, let's go ahead and check out the Buffalo Bills. So they just started, looks like one guy, Buckley, 26 for 38, 196 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Looks like 3 different players for the Bills had rushing touchdowns. Bell, Gore, and Wheeler all had a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills. And receiving, Bell 49 yards, Gore 45 yards. Looks like Damar Hamlin had another interception in the preseason. I think this is his second one. So Damar Hamlin having a good preseason. All right, so obviously not the most exciting game without Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen in the lineups, but I still found this game intriguing to watch just because, again, the quarterback situation, QB3 for the Steelers. I wanted to see how Will Howard would play, how Drew Aller would play. So I like to see the rookie quarterbacks in the preseason and just try to get a gauge for what they might become in the NFL. So Drew Aller, I mean, not his best game, 50% completion percentage, no touchdowns, but he did show some good signs this preseason. So I think the Steelers potentially might have a quarterback for the long run, but obviously it's way too early. And for the Buffalo Bills, they really didn't play any of their guys. So not much more to say there. All right, give me just one moment. All right, guys, thanks for your patience there. Just had to adjust something real quick. All right, let's take a look at what other games we got. Patriots Browns. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that game a little bit. So in this game, the 2 main quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Shador Sanders, did not play in this game. The Browns already named their starting quarterback to be Deshaun Watson, Shador Sanders to be the backup, and Dylan Gabriel, the third-string quarterback, was the one that got action in this game. So after the Browns named Deshaun Watson as their starting quarterback, a lot of people had different reactions, and a lot of people were upset that he was named the starting quarterback just with all the things he's been through. And the post game press conference that he had. So Deshaun Watson just has a bad relationship with the Browns fans. So it was just kind of shocking to see that the Browns would name Deshaun Watson as the starting quarterback. But let's go ahead and check out this game. So Browns 37, Patriots 13. All right, for the Patriots, Morton 18 for 28, 123 yards, 2 interceptions. Tommy DeVito 2 for 4, 1 touchdown, 55 yards. Dixon 8 receptions for 71 yards. All right, let's check out the Browns side. All right, Dylan Gabriel had a really good game. He went 12 for 15, 186 yards. That's an 80% completion percentage. He had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he had a really good rating. That might be a perfect rating if I'm not mistaken. So really good job by Dylan Gabriel. Last year, he had that competition with Shador Sanders. So still, I think the Browns are trying to figure out if Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel might be the Browns' future quarterbacks or not. All right. Green, 8 carries for 66 yards. Booth, 10 carries for 40 yards with a touchdown. Wide receiver, Floria, 3 receptions, 29 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's really good. Patterson, 71 yards receiving. All right. So again, these two teams are going to be very intriguing to watch this regular season. New England Patriots, Drake May, Mike Vrabel issues off the field. They have a new wide receiver, A.J. Brown. And the Browns, Deshaun Watson is going to start. And it's going to be highly anticipated to see if Shador Sanders makes a start at any point. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can take a look at some other games. So let's see which games we want to take a look at. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this 49ers and Raiders game to see what that looks like. So this was also a good watch, in my opinion, for the Las Vegas Raiders. Both Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza played in this game. So for me, that was a must watch just to see, just like with the Browns, to see if Shador Sanders might overtake Deshaun Watson at some point in the season as the starting quarterback for the Raiders. I'm very interested to see if Fernando Mendoza overtakes Kirk Cousins at any point in the season. So that'll be definitely interesting to watch. Well, let's go ahead and check out the stats on this one. For the 49ers, Martinez, 12 for 21, 130 yards. Jones, 1 for 5, 7 yards. Watkins, 4 receptions for 64 yards. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to the Raiders. All right, Fernando Mendoza, 7 for 14, 57 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kirk Cousins, 8 for 11, 51 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Aiden O'Connell, 3 for 9, 32 yards. And Clark, 1 for 2, 18 yards. All right. So I think Kirk Cousins definitely should be the starting quarterback. He's had just a lot better of a preseason than Fernando Mendoza has. Fernando Mendoza has shown a lot this preseason. I think he's definitely the future for the Raiders, but he's still making some mistakes here and there that Kirk Cousins is not making. So I think the Raiders are in a really good situation to have Kirk Cousins start this season and maybe play the whole season. And then whether it's this season or next season, have Mendoza come in and be the starting quarterback. You know, he's going to be ready by then. So I think at this point, Kirk Cousins is just a little better than Mendoza. He makes less mistakes. So that's what the Raiders are going with. But I am definitely very excited for them to put in Mendoza at some point. And he's definitely going to be the future for the Raiders. All right, let's see what other games we can take a look at. All right, definitely want to talk about this Rams and Chargers game. So the Rams get the win 20-18. Also, very intriguing game here. Rams first round draft pick. They shocked everybody. They took a quarterback, Ty Simpson. Why would they take a quarterback when they have Matt Stafford? But it's looking like they might be smarter than the rest of us because Ty Simpson has looked really good this preseason. So Rams get the win 20-18. Let's check out the stats. All right, Ty Simpson, 18 for 23, 119 yards, 78.3% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Caldwell, 5 for 10, 31 yards with a touchdown. So those are really good numbers for Ty Simpson. He's done that now in multiple preseason games. Also for the Rams, their running back Connors, to me, he looked really good. He had 18 carries for 69 yards, and he was just very slippery, very quick, and I was impressed watching him. So I think he's going to definitely make the team. Receiving, a couple of guys had touchdowns. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Chargers. So Justin Herbert did get some action in this one. He went 2 for 3 for 74 yards with a touchdown. Ugalele, 11 for 18, 141 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Trey Lance, 0 for 2. Receiving, can't pronounce that name. The Rogiers, 9 receptions, 118 yards with a touchdown. That's a really good game. Or that's 9 carries for 118 yards with a touchdown. As far as receiving, Johnston had a touchdown with 65 yards receiving. And Justin Herbert did have a fumble loss. So he's got to clean that up. All right, so 2 really, really interesting teams. The Rams and the Chargers, they're going to be 2 of the best teams in the NFL. So I think with the Ty Simpson draft, I think the Rams he's looking really good. I think he's going to be their quarterback of the future. Stafford might play this season, next season, or, 2 or 3 more seasons. But I think Ty Simpson is going to be the Rams quarterback after that. And I think the Rams look smarter than everybody else by the draft choice that they made of Ty Simpson. So really, really good job there. The Rams are heavy favorites to win the Super Bowl. And they got Myles Garrett. So the Rams are definitely the team to beat in the NFL. The Seattle Seahawks, the team that's in their division, they're the defending Super Bowl champs. But the Rams are definitely favorite. We're still waiting for Aaron Donald to see if he's going to actually come back and play for the Rams. So that's going to be very intriguing if he does come back. If he comes back, it's almost unfair for the Rams. But it's going to be must-watch TV for sure if he does come back. All right, let's see what other games we can jump into. All right, we had a big win by the Ravens, 41-3 over the Commanders. For the Commanders, Hartman 9 for 14, 64 yards. For the Ravens, Tyler Huntley 4 for 4, 61 yards. Venano 19 for 27, 162 yards with a touchdown. So all three quarterbacks that's played got a touchdown, including Reed. McMillan 3 carries for 70 yards, so that's an amazing average. Moore 3 receptions, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. All right, so these two teams are also going to be very interesting to watch. We'll see if Jaden Daniels goes back to the rookie year, Jaden Daniels, who lit up the NFL and had one of the best rookie seasons as a quarterback, if not the best. And we'll see the Ravens. Do they maybe regress, take a step back? They don't have their old head coach, John Harbaugh, so they have a new head coach. Is Lamar Jackson still as mobile as usual, or does he regress a little bit as far as that? So that's going to be really interesting to watch. So can't wait to see what happens with the Ravens as well. All right, let's see what other games we can jump into. All right, let's check out this Falcons versus Dolphins game. This was interesting just because Tua Tagovailoa of the Falcons, their new quarterback, faced his old team, the Miami Dolphins. So this was definitely a game to watch. So in this one, the Falcons win 17-12. So Tua gets the win over his former team. And let's check out the stats on this one. So Tua, he went 7 for 8 for 95 yards. Rush 13 for 18. 1 touchdown, 106 yards. Bijan Robinson, 5 carries, 14 yards with a touchdown. Kyle Pitts, 3 receptions, 59 yards. So the Falcons, they played a lot of their starters, Tua, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts. So they're trying to evaluate as much as possible in the third preseason game. All right, let's check out the Dolphins. Gronowski, 4 for 8, 97 yards. Miller, 7 for 16, 71 yards. All right. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that game. It was just a good storyline again. Tua facing his former team that traded him away, the Miami Dolphins. So we'll see what Tua looks like with the Falcons. I'm not expecting much better than he was with the Dolphins, but we shall see. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, let's jump into this Jags Buccaneers game. The head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen, going up against his former team, the Tampa Bay Bucks. They shut out the Bucks 19-0. So this was a battle of two Florida teams. For the Bucks, Daniels 8 for 15, 57 yards. And for the Jags, Bradley 8 for 15, 77 yards with a touchdown. Mullins 5 for 7, 62 yards. Looks like Cameron Little made a 61-yard field goal. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised if both of these teams regress a little bit this season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, contract issues. He lost Mike Evans. For the Jaguars, they had an amazing season last season, so I don't think they're going to repeat their success from last season. I think they take a step back a little bit. They've lost a few different players, so we'll see. Trevor Lawrence, I'm very excited about watching him. He's got one of the more exciting games, in my opinion. He slings the ball all over the field. Also, he uses his legs, so love to watch Trevor Lawrence play. All right, let's see what other games we can jump into. All right, let's take a look at this very high scoring game between the Arizona Cardinals and Green Bay Packers. So the Packers get the win 42-38. So combined, the two teams score 80 points. For the Cardinals, Slovis 21 for 35, 223 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. Gardner Minshew 7 for 9, 126 yards with a touchdown. Rushing, Hull 16 carries, 107 yards with two touchdowns. Fehoko 5 receptions for 94 yards with two touchdowns. And for the Packers, McCord 22 for 35, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So really good game by him. Nixon, 9 carries, 44 yards. Sturdivant, 6 receptions, 112 yards with a touchdown. Johnson, 2 touchdowns. Shepard, 1 touchdown. So a lot of different receivers contributing for the Packers. All right. So for these two teams, I think the Cardinals are going to definitely be one of the worst teams in the NFL. They ended their relationship with Kyler Murray. Their starting quarterback should be Jacoby Brissett. So I definitely think the Arizona Cardinals take a step back this season. And for the other side, Green Bay Packers, I mean, it's time for them and Jordan Love to take the next step. They got to make a deep playoff push. Micah Parsons, he should hopefully have a full season with the team coming off his ACL tear. So that should be also a big deal for the Packers. They always have good weapons at receiver. So I'm expecting a lot of good stuff from the Packers this season. But the Packers are always good, every year, but they have to take that next step. They got to go deeper into the playoffs. And if not now, then when? So I definitely think that it's time for that. All right. What else do we have? All right, let's take a look at the Saints and Cowboys game. So the Cowboys 24, the New Orleans Saints 27. For the Saints, Zach Wilson 9 for 12, 93 yards. Spencer Rattler 8 for 10, 79 yards. Bell 6 carries for 65 yards, or 6 receptions for 65 yards. All right, so they have two guys here, Wilson and Rattler, who are trying to resurrect their NFL careers. For the Cowboys, Milton 8 for 15, 92 yards. Howell 12 for 18, 155 yards with 2 touchdowns. So Sam Howell had a good game. Hudson 97 yards receiving with a touchdown. Brandon Aubrey 3 for 4 from field goal range. All right. Yes, I mean, the Saints, I expect them to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this season. Until they get their franchise quarterback, the Saints are really not going anywhere. And Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson are definitely – not the long-term solutions at the quarterback position. So I think they know that they're going to be looking for a quarterback in the next draft. So I definitely expect the Saints to want to lose as much as possible to try to get that number one overall draft pick. And for the Cowboys, I am definitely excited about watching them. Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, they've added some pieces to their defense. So I think the Cowboys take a little step forward this season. I think they make the playoffs and maybe win a game or two. But more than that, I don't expect them to go deeper into the playoffs. I'm just not a believer in them as like a Super Bowl winning team. They're always flashy a little bit, but they're never a serious Super Bowl contender. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the games from Saturday. So Lions and Colts. Lions 25, Colts 16. For the Lions, Dobbs 15 for 19, 128 yards with 2 touchdowns. Altmaier 7 for 11, 55 yards. Sailors 17 carries for 100 yards. Jackson 5 receptions for 94 yards. For the Colts, Anthony Richardson 7 for 10, 80 yards. Stick 8 for 15, 78 yards. Leonard 3 for 7, 48 yards. Well, I think their starting quarterback is Daniel Jones. I'm thinking he's recovered and going to be the starter. So he had a really good season last year until he got hurt. So we'll see what he looks like this season. All right. So, yeah, we'll see what Daniel Jones looks like this season. If he does play for the Lions, they're going to be a really good team with their head coach, Dan Campbell. He's going to have all the guys ready. Jared Goff and the other guys, Jahmyr Gibbs. So Lions should be one of the better teams again this season. And the final game that we're going to talk about is the Bears and Titans game. Bears get the win 24-15. Tyler Bagent, 16 for 17, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a really good backup quarterback to Caleb Williams. I think Bagent is going to get a starting opportunity in the near future for some team. Case Keenum, still in the NFL, 7 for 13, 84 yards. Moss, 1 for 2 for 12 yards. Rushing, Johnson, 52 yards with a touchdown. Receiving, Thomas, 5 receptions, 140 yards with 1 touchdown. Alexander, 1 touchdown. So a good offensive showing by the Bears in this one. Check out the Titans side. Will Levis, 14 for 22, 143 yards. Hooker, 5 for 8, 37 yards. All right, so for these two teams, definitely very excited to watch the Bears this season. I have some family in Chicago, so got to root for the Chicago Bears a little bit. Caleb Williams, does he take a step forward? Does he increase his accuracy, his completion percentage? Does he make the little simple passes, the layups, or does he continue making those mistakes? Caleb Williams had a lot of amazing plays last season. Does he continue that, or does he play more conservatively? So a lot of excitement with the Chicago Bears. Their head coach Ben Johnson, he talks a lot, so we'll see if he backs it up. See if he calls some crazy and exciting plays. I definitely hope so. So we'll see. I think the Chicago Bears, they're kind of one of those volatile teams. They could be the best team in the NFL this season, but they could also regress significantly and take a step back. So that's how I view the Bears, as a highly volatile team going into the season. And for the Titans, Cam Ward, is he the long-term future for the Tennessee Titans at the quarterback position? He's struggled so far. We'll see. He's got a new head coach, Robert Saleh. So a lot of things to watch there as well with the Tennessee Titans. All right, guys. That's all I wanted to share and talk about as far as NFL preseason week 3. So another good preseason in the NFL. We got to watch a little bit more of the Raiders quarterback situation, Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza. Is Mendoza going to overtake Cousins as the starting quarterback at some point? For the Browns, Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders did not play. Dylan Gabriel had a really good game, though. We'll see if Shedeur Sanders overtakes Deshaun Watson at some point in this season. And we saw Tua play for his new team, playing against his old team. And we saw the Rams' first-round draft pick, Ty Simpson, look really good again for the Rams. So even though it was the preseason, these preseason weeks and games still have some intrigue, and they're definitely a good watch. But the preseason is over officially. Next is going to be NFL Week 1. Can't wait until it gets here. September 9th, 2026, Wednesday. We'll do a show each week like we did with the preseason. So cannot wait to do that the whole season. So thank you guys for joining me. I really hope you got some value out of today's video. And if you did, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Hit that like button and make some comments on your reaction to NFL preseason week 3 and the upcoming NFL season. I'll see you guys next time, and take care.